Hello, and I'm on page 10, and you are writing what I'm writing. And this will be a direct instruction lesson on basic information with regard to lines, hence it's called Introduction to Equations of Lines. When an equation, directions, please answer the following. Number one, when an equation of a line is in standard form, it looks like ax plus by equals c, where a, b, and c are whole numbers. When an equation of a line is in slope-intercept form, it looks like y equals mx plus b, where m is the slope and b is the y-intercept. Okay? So what we're saying here is that if you have an equation and it is the equation of a line, it can look either like this or that, or be put into one of those forms. So let's continue on here. Number 3, directions. Consider the following equations. Circle any of the equations that is a line. So what we're looking for are things that either look like standard form or look like slope-intercept form. First example, y equals 3x plus 4. We see that that is slope-intercept form, so we will circle it. Second example, y equals x squared plus 5. We tend to think that looks like y equals mx plus b, but this exponent disqualifies it. So it's not the equation of a line. Next example, 2x plus 3y equals 12. Okay. We notice that that looks like ax plus by equals c, where a is 2, b is 3, and c is 12. Okay. So from there, we're going to say that qualifies as the equation of a line. Y equals 3 over x. Well, the x in the denominator, okay, is bad. Okay. I'm just going to go back here and write bad for the exponent. Serve as your notes. Use the magic pen there to fade it out. So this is not the equation of a line. Okay. Next example, negative x plus 4y. Well, we notice that that does look like ax plus by equals c. So that is the equation of a line. And our final example here, y equals negative 3/11 x minus 5. We notice that that is y equals mx plus b form. The exponent's 1, which is good, which, again, just going back here to this example, okay, exponent being 2 is bad, exponent being anything but 1 is bad. If you notice, it's mx to the first up here in the standard, in the form of slope-intercept form. Okay, so this was as well an equation of a line. Step 4, directions. Sorry, problem 4, directions. Please circle any of the following equations that are standard form. So again, your standard form is like this, ax plus by equals c. And please underline any of the equations that are in slope-intercept form. And again, slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b. Okay, so this first one is y equals mx plus b, so we'll underline it. The next one here that says 2x plus 3y equals 12, that's standard form, so we'll circle it. Okay. The next one that says 9x plus y equals 15, also standard form, so we'll circle it. Now the next one, believe it or not, is not really either, okay? Because of these decimals, okay? But it's more like standard form, okay? And given the directions, we'll say that it's standard form, and I'll put it in quotes because it's not really standard form. The last one is a somewhat of a misprint because, I'm sorry, it's exactly like the first equation, which obviously is y equals mx. Okay? So, next section, please write the following equation in slope-intercept form. Keywords being underlined, slope-intercept form. Again, we see it's y equals mx plus b. Sometimes it's nice to write that active reading, active writing when processing the fractions. Okay, so you have to have a good understanding here of why things are in slope-intercept form. A couple observations. One, y is alone. And what I mean by alone is it's on one side of the equation by itself. It's not that it doesn't have a coefficient or anything. It's the only thing on that side of the equation. That's what it means to be alone, or solved for, or isolated for. Okay? So, now if you notice, in this first equation of 5, y is not by itself because of the 3. And in 6, you notice, y is not by itself because of the 2x. And then you notice in 7, y is not by itself because of the 2x and the 3. And similarly in the last one, y is not by itself because of the 2x and the minus 3. So we're going to have to address all of these by doing the golden rule, okay? Which means whatever you do on one side, you have to do on both sides, okay? And we'll try to use inverses, okay? So I'm going to zoom in a little on this. Not that if you're looking on a computer screen, that should be too much of an issue. My eyes are getting a little older. So on number 5, we have that you are going to divide both sides by 3 to undo the multiplication here. So cancel the 3's. Y equals 6 over 3 is 2. Bring down the x. Plus 24 over 3 is 8. Now, if you notice, this is really nice for having y equals mx plus b form, where m is 2 and b is 8. Now, in this next one, if we're going to get number 6, get y by itself, we have to get rid of the 2x. The mistake that kids make here is to say they want to divide by 2. This is not true, okay? You don't want to do that. You're not trying to remove the 2 from the x. You're trying to remove the 2x from the y. So this is a situation where you're going to use subtraction, okay? And it's not because of this plus sign. It's because there's an invisible plus sign right here. That 2x is a positive term. We'll undo it with subtracting 2x. Okay? So, working from left to right, we cancel. We bring down 1. Bring down your equals. And then we have 20 minus 2x, which is card 2 from earlier in the year. We have things that do not match, so we cannot combine those terms. Now, for the sake of order, I'm going to rearrange my terms and put my x term first. So I'll write y equals negative 2x, and my 20 term second, which is positive. So now, again, this is y equals mx plus b form, where m is negative 2 and b is 20. Okay? Moving over to 7. We need to be able to get the y alone. So we're going to need to get rid of the 2x and the 3. Okay? Now this is important because you have 2 steps in this problem. So you're going to have to, okay? You're going to have to use the appropriate order. So what I'm going to do first is get rid of my 2x because I'm going to undo my adds and subtracts first. Remember our DCGO 1? This is an example of 0, 1. So working down, we're going to get 3y equals negative 2x plus 12. If you notice here, for what I just put in this box, where it says 12 minus 2x. I just rearranged the order a little bit, wrote like negative 2x first. Okay? So now I'm going to divide by 3. Okay? I'm going from left to right. I'll cancel here. Y equals negative 2/3. There's no fraction to simplify there. It is negative 2/3. X plus 12 divided by 3 is 4. And again, you can see that this is y equals m, x plus b. Okay. Now, in the last example, I'm going to need to get rid of the 2x and the negative 3. Okay? So, how am I going to get rid of this 2x? Subtract 2x on both sides. We get negative 3y equals negative 2x plus 21. Again, in this area, although it says 21 minus 2x, I wrote negative 2x plus 21. If you're comfortable going right to that, it's fine. You cannot combine the 21 and the 2x because, again, it's part of 2. So from here, I will divide by negative 3, and then I'll write the result of that line, which is y equals 2/3 x minus 7. Notice here, you need to get that sign correct. Okay? Notice here, a negative over a negative is a positive. Awesome. So, next section. Please determine the slope of y-intercept of the following equations. So we've got y equals 3x plus 4 to start. So if we're looking back at our directions, y-intercept is b, slope is m. And we've got to focus on y equals mx plus b form. So, now I want you to notice 9 and 10 and 11 and kind of 12 and 13. We already have y equals mx plus b form for the most part. Now I want you to look at 14, 15, 16, 17, and 18. And realize that the y is not by itself in any of these equations. That's why we're going to have to do more work. That's why I gave a little more space in this area where I have the square, because you'll have to do that work in that blank area. Okay, so 9 through 13 are pretty much just reading things. Excuse me. And what do we have? While looking for the slope, again, which is m, and looking for the y-intercept again, which is b, we look at our form and say what? M is the number that multiplies the x, and b is the number without a variable. It's called a constant. So, in problem 9, the multiplier of the x is 3, that is the slope. The y-intercept is the number with no variable, that's the 4. Similarly, on number 10, where we have y equals 3/7 x minus 3, the number that multiplies the slope is 3/7. The number that has the y-intercept, which is the one with no variable, is negative 3. Similarly, in number 11, where it says y equals negative x plus 5, you have to realize what? That it's negative 1x. So our multiplier is negative 1. Okay? And our y-intercept is the number by itself, which is 5. Okay? In 12, we have y equals 6 minus negative 4/11x. Now, I said it was kind of slope-intercept form, because you have to realize I just kind of can shuffle the order around a little bit. Now, what I wrote right here in blue, you don't have to write. If you can see that the multiplier for the x is negative 4/11, and the number with no variable is the 6. Again, slope is m, y-intercept is b. Okay? You can see that, great. 13 is mildly tricky. Maybe if I rewrite y equals x as y equals 1x, because that's how many there are, plus 0, it'll help you see more quickly what is the multiplier of the x and what's the number by itself. Now, the deal with that is I can add in this 1 and add in this 0 because it does not change the value of anything in the expression. And maintaining value is a big math idea. Okay? So for my slope, that's going to be 1. My y-intercept, that will give me 0. Okay, lovely. So now we got 14, 15, 16, 17, and 18. Okay, so where does that leave us? With needing to say what the slope is, which is m, and y-intercept, which is b, but you have to have y equals mx plus b form, and I don't. Okay, so I'm going to have to do a little work first here. So let me zoom in a little bit for the sake of my old eyes. Okay, and let's take a look. So number 14, to get the y alone, I have to get rid of the negative 2x. Okay, so y equals cancel. I'm sorry, y cancel, then the equal sign. And I'll put it in a nice order. The 2x is positive. It's still positive in my final line here. And the 4 is positive. The slope is 2. My y-intercept is 4. Let me take a second here to tell you something. This next thing you're about to see, don't write it because it's going to fade out with the magic pen. Okay? Some kids say the slope is 2x. This is not true. Again, if we say that the slope is the number that multiplies the x, it's just the 2, not 2x. Okay? So, next problem, to get y alone, I'll subtract x. So, I'll say y, then cancel, then equals. If you've been struggling with the order thing I've been doing, a little shortcut. I'm going to write 2 minus x, which is what it says. Okay, from part 2, you can't combine them. And I'll say, well, I'm going to rewrite that order where the x is negative and 2 is positive. Okay? And then I got to realize that the number multiplying the x is negative 1, the y-intercept is 2. Okay? So, in number 16, I've got to get rid of this negative 2 to get the y by itself. It's hooked to the y by multiplication. So I'm going to do division to remove it, so to speak. Cancel it. Y equals, now I'm going to move the negative up, and have negative 3 halves x minus 4, which gives me a slope of negative 3 halves and a y-intercept of negative 4. Okay. Now, number 17, to get the y alone, I've got to remove the 5. 5 is attached to the y by multiplication, so division seems to be the inverse. So cancel 5s, right? Y equals negative 2x. My slope is negative 2. My y-intercept is 0. Okay. And then in 18, I'm going to subtract x to get this y alone. And you have to be very careful here. If you notice when I'm drawing this arrow to green is that negative sign. So when you cancel, you still have to bring that negative sign down. Y equals negative x first, then positive 10. Again, you got to realize that negative represents a negative 1. So when I go to divide by negative 1, that will cancel the negative, which is what I need to do. I am not getting negative y by itself. I'm getting y alone. It's going to be y equals x minus 10. You have to be cognizant that there's a 1 here, which doesn't have to be written. That is the slope. The y-intercept is negative 10. Well, I hope you enjoyed this as much as I did. So let's see how this works.